The views and opinions expressed on this station do not reflect the owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 30th and final day of November 2020. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindo's. I'm Jamel Hartman, along with Carla Zool. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. If you haven't already, share the link, start a watch party, get the conversation out there to your network. A good one to begin the week and end the month with Latoya Utterbridge stopping by to discuss empowerment and wellness. The Daily Play is a Who Said It? So, Carla over there is guessing a famous quote, and my friend, she has been on a roll lately. Last week,
I don't know which way I've been rolling, but I'll take it.
Oh, you got it pretty quick last week. I think it was Arthur Ashe. You got so you've been doing pretty well lately. You've been doing pretty well, but we have a lot to discuss. Did you happen to watch the Christmas parade in Bermuda yesterday?
I did, I watched because I saw people complaining, so I went and watched it. But I caught the beginning, so it was only 7 minutes. But I'm here for it. I liked it. I thought people complaining about it, I thought they were a bit ungrateful, because kudos to the marketplace for trying to bring some joy to people.
Okay, I'm not trying to be rude, and I'm not trying to. Well, I am who I am. Let me not even do that. What were people complaining about? And let me just guess where the complaints were.
Adults complaining that they didn't get candy. People were saying, oh, it was short. I mean, come on. Like, we're making apple out of applesauce here. I just think people, and I'm going to say this.
Apple out of applesauce?
Making applesauce out of apples. But be quiet. But being here in Manchester, UK, right? Mm-hmm. And so life has shifted so drastically because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Bermuda got off really well. Now we're seeing these increases. I think for people to complain about candy just solidifies for me how ungrateful some people are, and that how they're taking things so lightly. Mm-hmm. Because who wants to have candy that could potentially be on the exterior contaminated because of COVID? Like, nothing against, the entity who had it, but let's be for real. Like, people need to just appreciate the blessings. It's really starting to annoy me.
Well, forgive my ignorance. Seriously, forgive my ignorance. It fascinates me that, well, I don't have children, so again, forgive my ignorance, but it does fascinate me that Santa Claus is still a vocal point of any holiday. But what's the whole candy thing? Because I just don't. I'm old now, folks. Right? I don't remember candy and what did Santa Claus used to throw out candy or something.
It was a novelty thing. I mean, it was a treat for the children. Again, that marketplace did, because it's not a tradition that you throw candy at children, but this is the thing: expectations. People and their expectations. So in essence, them being generous has now this year come back to bite them, because people have these expectations that they should have had candy. Really? You're lucky that they had a parade. They even had gumbears on a truck. I thought that was funny, but like, come on. Trying to make the best out of a bad situation.
I feel like I'm learning here. Like, well, I cannot tell you the last time I was at one of the parades. So I'm legit asking innocently, folks. I'm not judging. I'm just really trying to understand. And you didn't answer my second question, though, Carla.
About what?
Where were the complaints in one of the list?
Oh, I'm banned. from one of the lists. I don't even know what I done this time. But I've seen statuses of people saying that adults were complaining about not getting candy.
Look, folks, I don't know. Look, it's like our friend and their sister Jackie, when she said she got put in Twitter jail, and I've heard people be put on Facebook jail, and now you're talking about you've banned from this list. Let me just make it clear.
I was the very first person ever to be banned from that list. I wear that
Let,
banner.
no, I'm not letting you take away from my point I'm about to make. I'm not letting you do that. No, because for all the crap I get on this show, and even you all, I'm not going to call names, but our dear sisters, when I said I was the good cop, let me be on record that I have never been to Twitter jail like Jackie. I have never been banned from a list like Carla, and I have never been to Facebook jail like so many of you. So I am a good person compared to others. Now, let's go to some comments. Oh no, I'm not letting you come back from that. That's oh, no. Elizabeth Carla.
Not sure what people were expecting. It couldn't possibly be anything close to the normal parade traveling that far. My daughter was so happy to see Santa, and I didn't have to travel far from my house to see him.
Elizabeth also says, if people want candy, they can go to Marketplace and get some.
Exactly.
James Bart says, we need to recognize how good we have it. Practice gratefulness. Elizabeth says they give out free candy and freebies with every foot. See, I honestly didn't know this. That's why I didn't get what you were saying just now about people complaining about no candy. Dang, that welfare mentality is crazy. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Nachika Trot says Marketplace used to distribute candy during the parade. I must be old because I remember going to the parade when I was younger. I just cannot remember what they used to give out. Maybe it's
no, they used to throw candy. They used to throw candy, but
candy I didn't like. It weren't wine gums, weren't it? It's probably those.
No, it was it used to always be Jolly Ranchers at one point and the little Tootsie things. But my thing is, again, this was something they did under the kindness of the heart. Now next year, God willing, and everything's back to normal. If I was Marketplace, candy tradition would be done.
Wow, you're grumpy. Charles says Burmese gotta look out. Carla memes are coming back. Making apples out of apples. I caught that, Charles. I was like, huh?
Oh well, you know, I thought we was people. So since you caught that, our guest today is Latoya Bridgewater, not Latoya Utterbridge.
Who said Utterbridge?
You.
Did I? Oh my. My goodness. I was thinking about my daddy, hoping she was a cousin. Latoya Bridgewater. My goodness. You have to correct me when it's happening. Now somebody's going call a cousin, say Latoya the other. Look, man, don't do that to me. You got to correct me when it happens. But I see how you are, though. I see how you are. You're trying to get me memed like you. We need a campaign to get Carla reinstated to any list she wants to be on. Not quite sure you want that. Anybody else shocked that Jamel has never been to social media jail or banned from a list?
Me.
I don't think it's anything to be shocked about. I'm a relatively nice person. I don't know what you all are going on about. But we've got some good news, Carla. We've got some good news. Well, at least I think it's good news. Did you see Amazon apparently has hired a bunch of workers?
Yeah, I was reading these stats. Really interesting. And the bonus, $300, $150 doesn't sound like a lot. But when you spread it over all those people, they have given out a lot of money. But they've gained a lot too. So
yeah, I see, I'm trying to look at the positive side. Like, okay, people are employed. So they said it was record numbers, and I don't have the exact number in front of me because it changed from Saturday to Sunday. And obviously with this, it's called Cyber Monday, where we are right now. Cyber Monday.
Yes.
Do you all have what's it called? Like Black Friday in the UK?
They do kind of, but I don't do lines. I don't do pushing, none of that stuff. So
but they have the shopping sales and stuff like the US.
To me, shops out here never ever close. So it's like, I don't know, Jamal. Usually Boxing Day is what the equivalent of Black Friday is in the States and North America. So that's when you get those long lines, early openings. It's usually on Boxing Day.
Have there been any reports that they've had an increase in online sales over there, like in the US?
Oh, I don't know. Cyber Monday is a big thing everywhere. Apparently, one one group, even my son asked me about it, which I thought was odd. One organization retailer is having 80 dresses for 89 pence. That's less than $2. So apparently that went really well and crazy. But
well, I mean, you mentioned $300 bonus for full-time employees at Amazon and $150 for part-time. Now, there are people that are saying, well, this guy's the richest man in the world. That's all he can give his employees and so on. And, you know, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one to kind of find the positive and not see the negative. But when people start spending the way they've been spending, according to the record levels that are being reported online, it should be good for an economy, right? Like, if people are spending, that means in retrospect, the company now has to hire people to take care of those who are purchasing. My question, though, and I want it to be positive, is does this equate to long-term employment, or is it just a quick holiday thing? Even if it is, should people be grateful just so that they have income, some sort of, just for now? It's a tough one.
I think the pandemic has actually, like, I was never an online shopper, right? Not really into it. But the pandemic helped me realize, like, wow, I can still order whatever. I ordered a bench yesterday without having to leave home. So I think for people like me, it opens up your eyes, period, that it can become a lifestyle as opposed to just because it's a holiday. And even though you're not supposed to, I don't know, I still tip the delivery person because I feel like that person, every little bit counts in this economy, especially if they're doing the job as a pickup because they've lost their substantive employment. I always give them a little something, even if it's just a pawn is something.
Sometimes I have to remember you're not my nana's age when you say things like, I was never an online shopper. Like, dude, don't make us feel so young. Like, I mean, I've been online shopping for about a decade. I mean,
not me. I was never into it.
Hold on, let me fix that. I don't shop. What I meant to say is I had once done online shopping 10 years ago. I don't want the wrong person to hear me say that, Carla. Jermaine Smith says UK have had a strong e-commerce market for a while. Carla, can you attest you get anything delivered in UK? Yeah.
Anything. My green screen. Like I said, I ordered a shoe bench yesterday. Like, I used to think if you did online shopping, it had to be like at least a small box, or the greatest a small box. I've gotten an easel. It's like, I wonder if you got a husband on Amazon.
Well, that's not bad, Carla. That's not bad, because true story. And this is going to sound really silly, but it's worth
not the blow up type.
It's worth a try. I actually, on Black Friday, I went on Zillow just to see. Now, you all know what Zillow is, right? Zillow is where you go to pretty much look for a house. I went on Zillow just to see, wonder if they're doing anything like a mortgage special or something. No luck. And I'm like, Jamel, you know how this works. You're not getting a mention for 50% off, bro. It's not going to happen. So that's it, Carla. I don't think you're going to get one of those good fellas.
I didn't say I wanted one. I just said I wonder if one could be purchased.
And I'm telling you, you ain't going to get one there. Next,
maybe he could be the delivery guy. You never know.
My goodness. Somebody's ordering a pizza tonight. Yo, real quickly.
With lots of sausage, huh?
My goodness. PG, it's morning now. It's morning. So real quickly, 30% drop. They're reporting, the New York Times this morning reported a 30% drop in COVID cases in the UK since lockdown. So I guess basically saying lockdowns work with a 30% drop. Now, I want to be positive about this, but yeah, my face, for you who are all listening on the radio, my face, I don't know.
I don't know either. And apparently, tomorrow, December 2nd, we go into different areas of the UK, go into different regions of tiers. So Manchester is in tier 3, which is really angering people, right? Other areas are in tier 2. It's just so confusing. But for me, thankfully, I don't have to venture out the house much. I tell you, with the football, I just don't understand it. I don't understand how we could be in tier 3, but yet football still goes on. But that's just me. So I don't know. They just busted up a party this weekend in an area called Oldham, which had 1,000 party goers having a lockdown
You don't feel like
rave.
that dropped?
Hmm?
You don't feel like it's been a 30% drop based on what you've witnessed?
I can't feel like nothing because it's 100% absentee rate in my house. Like none of us have it. So I can't compare it to anything, because for as many people who feel that a lockdown doesn't matter, there are many who feel that it does. Some still go out and party and could be super spreaders while others stay home. So there's really no true way of measuring, and that bothers me.
Indeed. Got to get to the news. Leslie White, just want to go back to this comment. Great sales for Amazon can mean less for sales for local and small businesses. That's not good for towns and cities, but great for business. Interesting, because Leslie, it's like you want to see the positive in people getting employed, but at the end of the day, employment may take away entrepreneurship opportunities. So thank you for stating that. Look, we're going to go to the news. I just want to remind folks that there's only one person on this show that has never been to Twitter jail, banned from a Facebook group. I mean, look, there's a such thing as a good cup, and that good cup looks like me.
Dennis Pitcher, the chief fintech advisor to the premier and chief COVID advisor to the Bermuda government, has refuted claims published in the Royal Gazette this weekend. The article quotes Health Minister Kim Wilson as saying that the company he co-founded, ResQuest, has not passed on more than $1.7 million it has collected in fees in its capacity as the COVID-19 travel authorization portal. He said the monies were being held by ResQuest and were in the process of being transferred. She said, meaning Health Minister Wilson did state that. However, after the article was posted in the Facebook group, All Things Bermuda, Political and Discussions, Mr. Pitcher took the opportunity to personally reply. He stated, ResQuest has not yet had the associated fees actually deposited in our account. As you'll note, only recently have been granted an actual contract. Nobody seemed to complain when we provided a working system that my team actively worked to support day and night and weekend that kept our borders open during some of Bermuda's most challenging times without a formally agreed contract. The health team has been stretched to the limit as we have been. So this is something that was understood took a backseat to keeping our borders open and COVID under control. They have done an outstanding job and have been more heavily stretched during this time, while other jurisdictions with far more resources have failed to cope and should be wholly applauded for their efforts. Of the monies not being transferred to government yet, he said, the fee collection was due to challenges and delays in the setting up of a merchant account with HSBC for the government to accept the payments directly. This is not a new issue. Setting up ResQuest's original merchant accounts and processing took 10 months a few years ago. These processes are not simple. Mr. Pitcher concludes, as a result of not having a contract or any payment to cover hosting costs, wages, expenses, and other endeavors to keep our borders open over the last few months, we resolved to not release the funds until there was a signed contract. We stipulated that we can either transfer a net amount to be paid a reasonable sum and transfer the entirety for the system we've invested years in building for tourism that happen to be well suited to solving the challenges of the pandemic. My team has worked incredibly hard to keep our borders open and provide technology that has just worked. And that's Dennis Pitcher. Cyber Monday was originally conceived by Ellen Davis, the Senior Vice President of the National Retail Foundation, and was first used in the e-commerce community during the 2005 holiday season. But it wasn't until 2014, when online retailers earned over $2 billion in profit, that Cyber Monday became one of the biggest shopping holidays in the United States. Many other countries since then participate in Cyber Monday, and according to Adobe Digital Insights, Cyber Monday exceeded greatly by $3.45 billion in profit profit, raising the bar for retailers significantly. Do you want to celebrate Cyber Monday? Check out your favorite stores online and buy while sales are hot. But make sure you've paid your bills first and you are not obliterating your budget. Turning to weather, the high in Bermuda is expected to reach 73, while Atlanta, Georgia will see a high of 45, and 50 will be the high in London, UK. Don't forget, it's Reggae Mondays all day on the 4100 radio. Excuse me, 4100 radio. Don't miss the mix with Juggle and Jason from noon to 3 p.m. Bermuda time. That's your daily hour news break.
We have an important guest joining us, but let me just say that statement by Mr. Pitcher would give, if I was representative of the Bermuda people, gives me no confidence. It actually leads to even more questions. And I'll just say this much. Yes, we did speak about that before, obviously, it became public on this show, and which led to questions by the opposition in the House. Two, we got answers, and then obviously Mr. Pitcher defending himself on social media. Here's the thing. He, as you just read, talking about people complaining. I'm going to say this, and it's the only thing politically related I'd probably say today. With this and a couple other things that this Bermuda Progressive Labor Party are doing, I'm starting to believe that the only issue that this PLP party had with the airport was the fact that their hands were not greased. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with Latoya Bridgewater to talk about empowerment and wellness.
Good day, Medical House Store speaking. Can I help you?
Medical House is Bermuda's leading one-stop shop for healthcare.
Medical House is a great resource for Leafroy. The service is excellent.
Medical House is best known for its uniforms and footwear. It has hundreds of styles of scrubs and nurses' uniforms for health professionals. Bermuda's top doctors, dentists, care homes, and the hospital choose Medical House for a wide range of products. These same professional quality products are available to you for home health care.
The biggest reason to come see us is that we specialize in these areas and the education and knowledge that we provide.
Medical House is on Millreach Lane in Pembroke, where there is private parking right outside the door. Call or visit Medical House today.
Every resident of Bermuda deserves to spend their final days with dignity. They also deserve access to privacy for themselves and their loved ones. Although Agape House has lovingly wrapped its arms around thousands of patients and their families, it can no longer meet the needs of our community. There is an urgent need for a new facility, and we need your help to make that happen. Donate today by going to agiftforagape.com or calling 232-0859. Help give Agape House a new home. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. Carlos Zul, myself, Jamal Hartman. It is the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House and Lindo's. You just saw their commercials. If you're looking for little gift cards or gifts for the holiday season, make sure you check the people out who support us and support you, and make sure that we're able to do this for you. Thanks again to Channel 82. You can also watch the show if you don't have internet access, if you have One Communications. So thanks again to Lamone Woods for making sure that happening is able to happen. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, to all of you that continue to support us through those methods, we thank you. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, Latoya Bridgewater. See, there weren't no out before the bridge this time, right? Let's bring her to the show. Well, good morning. And
good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for having this conversation with us. Empowered Me Wellness, and I wanted to have you on because it's been quite a year. 2020 has been a very different year per se, but based on what you do, and for those who don't know, speak to us a bit about what empowerment looks and feels like to you.
For me, empowerment is being connected to my culture. It's using the tools that's been given to us to basically uplift yourself. If we want to go to the Webster's dictionary of what empowerment is, it's basically the process of becoming stronger and more confident, especially in controlling one's life and claiming one's rights. So for me, I've always used my culture, or I claim my culture is my superpower. So everything I do to uplift myself, to whether it's take care of my health, it's culturally connected. So when I decided to, become a yoga instructor, I had so many options to choose from, but I chose to become a Kemetic yoga instructor because of its African origins, because I could see myself in the practice. The foods that I eat, I try to eat foods that are most closely connected to the foods that our ancestors used to eat. Because, food can get as complicated as your blood type, which, determines what type of food you should and shouldn't eat. So Empowered Me Wellness is basically the platform that I use to share my journey, and the tools that I use for healing.
Indeed. What with all that's going on in the world and so much focus on the virus and the vaccine, how do you believe we can take this opportunity to focus on better prevention methods and our own health?
I think it was in July, Doreen Williams, myself, Dr. Famous, we did a webinar called Take Control of Your Health. Because at the end of the day, your body belongs to you, and what you do to it or with it, definitely people need to be more informed, essentially, about ways that we can develop our immune system. We need to be more informed about what stress does to our body, especially Black people. We've been under stress for 400, 500 years. Before the pandemic of 2020, there was the pandemic of 1619. So we've been under stress for a very long time. And I think stress is like the number one killer for us. So just becoming more aware of the stressors in our lives, becoming more aware of some of the tools that we can use to reduce stress, be conscious of the things that we're eating, start using more locally grown products. Go back to your granny and ask her what she used to use, whether or not when she had a cold or to build up her immune system. I think awareness is key in helping people to be more confident in the choices that they're making.
Indeed. You recently held a healing circle and meditation at the Griot, right? Mm-hmm. How important is meditation to our well-being, and how exactly is it done?
So there are multiple ways or multiple forms of meditation. I don't know how much you know about meditation. There are walking meditations, there are sitting meditations, there's transcendental meditation. So there are multiple forms of meditation. How important is it to our well-being? We literally need to rewire our stress response system because it's out of whack. And we can see that in how our children are showing up. And because I'm a Black woman and I live my life and experience this world through a Black body, the majority of what I do is focus primarily on my community and my people. If we look at the number of murders that's taken place in Bermuda, all of that has been by Black men to Black men. And I don't think that we are addressing and understanding the level of stress that you would have to be under to look at a person who looks like you and take their life. So for me, meditation is a way for us to rewire our bodies, rewire our stress, or rebuild, I should say, our stress response system, which is what I feel has been out of whack. And it's been out of whack for a very, very, very long time. And we're seeing the end results of that. So now, add COVID to the stress, the racial stress that we've been under for 400 years, to the stress of our family systems being broken down, which I feel like, whites and racism has their fingerprints all over that as well. That's compound complex stress that we're dealing with. So it's basically to rebuild our stress response system. That's what I use meditation for. And it's the process that I enjoy the most, because I'm the type of person, if I don't see the results of the things that I'm doing, I don't do them. And I've definitely seen the benefits and the results. So it's not until I start experiencing results that I'll go out and share any practice that I do with the community.
Now, talking about results, how beneficial mentally and physical well-being wise is yoga?
Oh my goodness. So yoga is beneficial. Okay, so all of this I'm going to stress is going to be the foundation that I'm going to build all of this conversation on, because I think that we need to really and truly become aware of the levels of stress that we're dealing with. We've been living in stress for so long, we don't even know that we're living in stress. That a fish living in water doesn't know that water is wet. I feel like that we've been living under or in the hormones of stress for so long that we are not even aware that we are living in stress. So yoga is the physical movements in yoga will help to create more of those positive hormones in the body. So the dopamine, the serotonin. So basically you're counteracting those negative hormones that stress creates, like the adrenaline and the cortisol. So yoga is beneficial in the fact that you're not only doing stretching, and there's a meditative component, but in comedic yoga, the postures that we use actually build on themselves. So you are literally rebuilding yourself as a being by doing the practice.
So with either yoga or meditation, is there a correlation between young people participating in them and the enhancement of their ability to focus in an academic setting?
Of course, because focus is something that needs to be practiced. It's not something that comes natural, especially when you're living in a state of stress. The body isn't ready for learning, if we're talking about focus in relation to school, if you're, living in stress. And I would say about 45% of our young people right now live in extremely toxic households, and they're experiencing multiple doses of adversity. So that's whether that's living in a single parent household, the stress that mama has to be under. Remember, stress is transferable. Whether it's their father being in jail or being locked up, whether it's the teacher not understanding what they're experiencing at home. And here's the thing with the stress response system. It doesn't know whether or not it's at home or it's in school, okay? So if you're leaving the household and your mama is yelling at you and screaming at you, when you go to school, and that puts you in a state of stress or fight or flight, when you go to school, you're not gonna automatically be like, oh, I'm in school now, unless the teacher does something, goes through a particular, procedure, if you must, to calm the stress response system in the body. So how can a child focus if their nervous system or their stress response system is going haywire? So definitely, focus is something that's learned. It's not something that comes natural, especially in this time where our children are overly stimulated. We didn't grow up with, cell phones in our hands and, TV shows. A lot of kids wake up and the first thing they do is turn on the TV or look at their cell phone. And how does that wire our brains? Those things we're not really thinking about on a regular basis. We're just kind of just functioning like this is how we're supposed to.
Now, you are also a vegan chef, and I rate people like you who are vegans. I have considered it, but then I don't like a lot of things. What would you say to someone who, or how would you introduce them to veganism when there are so many things that they don't like? What's some advice or some strategies to implement?
I would ask you why you don't like them. First of all, have you tried them before you said you
I
don't
was
like them?
so impressed with Daisy first, but I said, no, she's being serious, not a little.
But also, I have to admit, so I was vegan for 20 years, and it's not even an admit. And then I have this Professor Ackland Lynch, and I love that man more than anything else, right? And he lives in DC, and I go and I visit him whenever I'm in the Northeast. And I went to his house one day, and Ackland is like in his 90s, and he's like, "Baby, I went to the fish market and I stood in line at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I went and I bought you that wild caught salmon that I know you love." Now he has a daughter who's pescatarian, and he always says that I remind him of his daughter. So 90-year-old Ackland took an Uber, whatever he calls it, to the fish market and got me wild caught salmon, which is what his daughter loves. And he's from Trinidad. So there was an entire spread, okay? So he gave me salmon and I ate it. Because I wasn't going to say no. I wasn't going to be like, no, Ackland, I'm vegan. I don't eat salmon. So it's been like maybe a year and a half that I've been eating fish now. So whenever I go out with my friends, and I'll order fish and stuff. But as far as being vegan, I was born in Jamaica, and a lot of our dishes are vegan dishes. We don't even try to be vegan. It's just what we do. So like we have stew peas cooked down in coconut milk, and callaloo and ackee. And so a lot of the foods that I ate was vegan. So the transition from eating meat and cheese and things of that nature, it wasn't a hard transition for me. And because I lived in a household where my mother loved to cook, and not my grandma, but my grandpa loved to cook, and food was this thing that we used to bring people together. I love cooking. So when I became vegan, I loved experimenting, and it was trial and error. And for people who don't like a lot of foods, I would say, like a lot of people I know that don't like a lot of foods, they haven't even tasted the foods that they claim they don't like. So I would say just experiment, try something, and determine if you don't like it based on the experience you have with it, not necessarily what other people say or think, or your preconceived thoughts about it.
See, that's me and avocado. As everyone knows, I do not like avocado. And ask me, have I ever truly eaten one? And I even have a little one who eats avocado. I would prepare it for him, but it's something about it. And it's the first time I ate a raw pepper, Jamel's going to burst out laughing. The first time, I never liked pepper, so I don't like Spanish rice. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't eat anything that has a pepper flavor. I like salsa, but not the peppers. The first time I ate a raw pepper was in 2017. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it isn't bad. Jamel, fix your face.
Exactly.
It's so deprived. I mean,
I know, but it's very hard. Like I hear these great things about the avocado, for example.
Mm-hmm. Well, healthy fats.
Well, I think that brings me to a question. Thanks for saying that, Carla. For Latoya, in terms of, you have 4 daughters, right?
I have 3 daughters and 1 son.
And yes. 1. Okay, so you have 4 young ones, and I've heard a lot when it comes to diets. It comes to what you give children from young. That's what they're used to. How easy or difficult was it, like when they're growing up with? I'm guessing, did they grow up with a vegan diet?
They did.
And how is that for them versus probably even going to a birthday party where there may have been hot dogs and burgers on a grill?
So I was that parent that brought the veggie hot dogs and the veggie burgers and made my own cakes and things of that nature. I think that there are so many things within our community that we really have to reassess and take a serious analytical look at, and our diet is one of them. Why we eat what we eat. So for my children, they did share as they got older, because my oldest is 23 come December. Then I have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And they did share that it was hard being the odd one out, from a social standpoint. But I know that when my children, they went through both the public and the private schools. When they were in private schools, they had more kids who were eating vegan or similar to them, than when they were in public school. It was just a few kids that ate like they did. But it was difficult, but I made it as easy as possible. And then you meet angels like Angina. She was my daughter's P1 teacher, and Miss Butterfield. And she used to bake cakes. And she would come to me and pick up the ingredients to bake vegan cakes and cookies. So she would reward the kids. With treats, and she would come to me to get the ingredients so my daughter wouldn't feel left out. So this is when she was at Gilbert. Yes.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
dope, right?
Yeah, embracing everyone. And, I just think, I grew up with one person, my neighbor growing up, and, they didn't eat meat. So it was something that I thought, like, man, that's whack. They've got strict parents. But we touched on something, and I want to go a little deeper on it with you, if you don't mind. The difference between the private and public school experience, right? And we've spoken about 400 years in this conversation. So a lot of it goes back to what people have had access to, yeah?
Of course.
And
of course.
I don't want to offend, but
be honest. Go ahead, speak.
That was actually the question that was on my mind, Jamel. But I was like, do I go there or not? So
we have to go there. Of
course.
I just, one of the things that happened last week, right? Last week, I must have put a post on that I was looking for non-dairy eggnog, right? And there's this thing within the Black community. I'm going to focus on the Black community because that's who came on my post and started going off in their own way. One of the things you never hear me doing is criticizing people for their diets. Like, look, people do as you please. But I find it interesting that people find a need to criticize others for their diet when they're literally just trying to live better, right?
All the time.
Especially in the Black community. And I really want to know what you advise, because education is a serious thing. But it's like when someone says, oh, well, I'm looking for non-dairy. And because we've been consumed to believe that drinking from a cow and eating from a cow, which I think is going to be frowned on 100 years from now, the people who choose not to are seen as the crazy ones. How do we change this mindset that has been ingrained in us as if it's this health conscious thing, though?
I think that we need to look at our history. Our history has all the answers to the questions that we're asking, and for me, I would go back all the way back to the continent, and seeing how people eat there. Like I said, as far as like the island, Jamaica, where I was born, we had access in our yards to certain type of foods, and that's what we use. Here, it's about financial access. I know that being health conscious, it's just me and my 2 daughters in the house currently, and we're spending $500, maybe, I'll say a week. I'll say that because I just went and spent like $422 last week, and then I went and spent $250 just yesterday just to get them stuff for school, because we still eat organic. We still, choose the whole foods over the processed foods. And even though my children all of them eat differently, they're still health conscious. We still buy the natural products. And I think that we need to just really, like I said, assess, look at why we do what we do. Why do we eat the foods that are heavily starched and, laden in oils and butters? Why? Have we ever asked ourselves those reasons? that the reason why, and I don't think we do. A lot of the foods we eat come from what's known as a slave diet, and the fact that from a financial place right now, a lot of people are living in a state of lack, and you're not going to spend $400 on greens and healthy food when you don't have it to spend, number one, and when you can buy oodles of noodles because it's cheaper, it's more accessible. And just unhealthy foods. I don't even know the names of foods anymore. Mac and cheese, those things are cheaper and easier to get than buying foods that you have to make on your own and stuff like that.
So Latoya, mama question, real quick. So because two of your children were in two of my children's class, and I remember one just whichever one was in Moira's class, how she would teach him about the different vegetables and stuff, right? Have any of your children ever been tempted to eat meat because of their peers? And
of course.
How do you handle that? Like, did they do it? How do you handle that?
Yeah, they did it, and they're children. And I handle it like how I handled myself. When I first started out, even though it was an easy transition, every time I went back to the States from Bermuda, I wanted to go to McDonald's and get a Filet-O-Fish sandwich, that number 9 on the menu. Because when I was in high school, that was my thing, when we had half-a-days. So it's like we're creatures of habit. And even though they didn't grow up eating meat, they wanted to be accepted by their peers. They wanted to see what it was like. So for me, I personally never punished my children for wanting to explore and try different things. And I know it's not going to kill them, but for me, it's just laying that foundation now. So if they choose to eat meat now, which my son does, my two oldest, they eat meat. My youngest is the only one that does not eat meat. She'll eat pizza with, cow's milk, cheese, and all of that, but she doesn't eat meat. But I'll cook it for them if they want it, but I'm not going to buy it. Like, I'm not going to go out and be like, oh, I'm going to buy some chicken and put it in my fridge. No. But if my daughter who does eat meat says, Mama, could you make curry chicken or something like that? I'll go and I'll cook it, and I'll teach her how to cook it too. But so I'm not one that, I was never the parent that penalized my children for eating and trying different things. Because I know that it was an education both ways. And I know that their peers who would be like, just eat the chicken nugget, they just wanted to share what they had with my children. And so I try to be very understanding, because it's hard being different, even as an adult. You heard, I think, when I spoke about Ackland, me not wanting to break his heart and be like, Ackland, no, I know that you got up 6 o'clock in the morning and took the Uber to go get that fish and stood in line at the fish market in the cold for me. I didn't want to break his heart. So I ate the damn salmon, so.
Not the damn salmon.
The damn salmon. I ate that.
How was it prepared? I just have to ask. Was it black?
He baked it. Like I said, he was from Trinidad. So, we had a spread. Every time I went there, the table was fully set. It was a spread, because food, again, is that we use that as a point of gathering and showing love to people. If you love somebody, you cook for them, right?
Indeed, it's the weight of someone's heart. Go to the comments. Shamari Talbot says, many Christians in Bermuda do not do yoga because they've been told it goes against their religion. Have you experienced anything like this?
Oh my goodness, yes. I have written a wellness program for the school system. And there was this one, he was actually a teacher at the school. And, because I did a pilot in 2 schools, West Pembroke and Delwood. And it was a music teacher at one of the schools, and he came to me and he said that he didn't want his daughter to participate. And I told him I completely understood that. And I also reminded him that he teaches our children Christian songs and sings about Jesus all the time. And that's actually illegal. So it's just, but as far as yoga, yoga is for your health and wellness. It's literally a science. Like you can look at it as being a spiritual practice, because I feel like when you bring yourself into a state of wellness, that's automatically connecting with your God-like qualities, or your your divine state of being. That's how I feel, and that's how I see like how yoga is connected to spirituality. But for me, it's a science that deals with our biology more so than it is the focus on the spirituality. Once you're in congruence, once your body is in alignment, then naturally you will be more in a divine state of being. So
Indeed. We got another question coming through, and looks like Terry Too Cool's asking, do you offer online comedic yoga flow / courses?
I did do online when we were in the lockdown, but now that we're not, and I hope we don't go back, Bermuda, please. I'm starting a series of classes at the Griot in the new year. So every Friday for 6 weeks in the new year, I will be at the Griot.
How can people who have enjoyed this conversation, and I believe there are many, how can they get in touch with you if they want to learn more about yoga or becoming a vegan chef, or just empowerment and wellness?
So they can email me at info@emw.yoga. EMW is for Empowered Me Wellness, or they can go on my website, which is www.emw.yoga, or they could call me.
All right. Latoya, thank you so much for doing this, having this conversation with us. We look forward to having you back on sometime in the new year, definitely to continue the conversation. And we have much more to discuss because, as I jokingly say, people usually use a calendar year as a way to re-energize and review their life and take on new challenges. So thank you so much for doing this, and all the best. Till next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
See you later.
Okay, bye.
Awesome conversation.
That was awesome.
Gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. Don't go anywhere. We're after this break, gonna come back, and we've got some things to tell you.
It took 14 days to build your business plan, 6 months to build the courage to leave your day job, 3 weeks to find the perfect location. It took 10 days to outfit your space just right. And 1 day before your first client walked in the door. All totaled, it took you a full year to get your business operational. And this is just the beginning. To the entrepreneurs, the risk takers, the people that shape our economic community, we salute you and are here for you every step of the way. BEDC, providing knowledgeable, progressive, professional, and innovative support to Bermuda businesses.
All right, and just to let you know, we are now partnering with the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. So we're going to have many more conversations with small business entrepreneurs. We're going to be speaking about business and entrepreneurship a bit more on this show. So this is all for you all out there. So thanks again to the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation for believing in the audience of this show, to want to engage with the audience of this show, and to want to empower the audience on this show. So awesome commercial, I agree. It doesn't happen overnight. Some quick announcements before we go to Carla's favorite part of the show, the Daily Play. Don't forget, we will have the Bermuda Industrial Union president, Brother Chris Ferbert, on tomorrow, along with Brother Arnold Smith. We'll be talking about the latest situation on the docks. Obviously, Carla and I shared our opinions last week with minimal information. I still stand by where I stood last week, and I'm sure Carla does as well. So you don't want to miss that conversation. Always a good conversation. It's been about 10 years since Mr. Furbert and I were last in a conversation together publicly. Yeah, we've had some interesting convos over the years. So looking forward to that. And yeah, we have some good things coming up over the next few weeks and into the new year. So stick with us. We promise. Carla won't disappoint. If I didn't say I won't. All right, Carla, are you ready? Thanks again, honestly, to Latoya Bridgewater as well. And those are the kind of conversations we're looking forward to having more. It was really refreshing to hear her perspective on so many things that we need to talk about in our community. Look, we grew up eating hamburgers like it was normal, but is it? Take note of what she said, the difference between public and private schools. You know, I was once in an office and someone pointed out to me, do you realize, and this is a true statement, it's not race-based, it's just the reality. Do you realize all of the white people in this office are fit, in shape, eat well, and exercise? And I said, man, you're absolutely correct. It made me look at myself. So there's a lot of things that based on history we do, and we don't even realize it, and we contribute to our own demise. So keep those kind of things in mind. Carla, do you know what today is?
Who said it?
All right. So famous quote, folks. Here's the hint. It's one of the most famous athletes in the United States. Quote, I believe that good things come to those who work, end quote.
Michael Jordan.
They're not alive.
Oh, Jackie Robinson.
No, they played basketball.
Oh, why you keep telling me the hints after?
That's what I'm supposed to do.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still alive, so it's not him.
You're close.
Oh, Kobe Bryant.
Quote, I believe that good things come to those who work, end quote.
Basketball passed away. Great. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar still alive, right? I don't know.
Spelt it wrong, but.
Oh. Who's that?
Yep.
Wilkin, or is it the person Wilkin? They used to play for he played for the green and white team. Boston, no? Wilk, I don't know. I'm sorry. Wilt Chamberlain.
One of the most dominant and greatest scorers in the game, 100 points. I think his record still stands. Wilt Chamberlain. So Carla gets a. Yeah, Carla, you can't get them all. You can't get them all. It's okay. It's okay. You can't.
I know.
I'm sure you'll make it up tomorrow, right?
Oh, tomorrow's going to be just an awesome show all around.
Absolutely, Bad Cop. What you got for inspiration?
Each person must live their life as a model for others. Rosa Parks.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Charles.
You disagree with it though, don't you?
No, I was going to say Charles Barkley would disagree. You remember his commercials in the 90s saying, I am not a role model. Your parents should be and all that. So I didn't say I disagree, but I get what you're saying. And the truth be told, right? I don't like giving advice. I don't believe people should take what I say as gospel. And even as a coach, you know, I understood that I'm not the guardian of the young people I coached. The guardian should always be the first people that they look to as as examples. But truth be told, we can't control who's going to look to us as an inspiration. So we have to just live a good life, a life that doesn't cause harm to anyone else intentionally. Any final words based on today, Carla?
Be open. I loved what Latoya said about not being upset with her children for wanting to eat meat. And I think that many parents should think about that. Don't try to force your issues down your beliefs down your children's throat. So I love that.
Yeah, indeed. I really appreciated the conversation. Like I said, it was refreshing. So many things she said. I mean, someone's been trying to convince me to do yoga for years. I might actually consider doing it now, especially now I know that I'll be considered heathen +1. I may consider it. And then eating, look, I have to give up the potato chips. It's not easy, folks. It's not easy, but I'm working on some things. Maybe you all can help me out in the new year when I start the Daniel fast again. That said, though, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back again tomorrow with a big one. The BIU president, Brother Chris Ferbert, and Brother Arnold Smith. Don't forget, immediately following this show, tune into the full100radio.com all day for Reggae Mondays, juggling Jason in the mix from noon until 3 p.m. Carla, Jamal, peace.